cliff, but not necessarily with a herd of sheep.
I'd like to
head off a cliff,
but not necessarily with a herd of sheep.
That I loved very much, but left the job that I loved very much, but left the job.
As I go along. Find the direction as I go along. Find the...
I'm a Christian. I've never been Jewish, nor Muslim, nor Buddhist. I have had to figure out who truly cares and who doesn't. Today,
We needed to get an archive of people's stories, essentially, for this project. So what we did is we created flyers centering around the theme of Lost and Found. And what we each did is we chose something to lose that is intangible, like losing your religion, losing your humanity, et cetera, et cetera. And we felt that being that vague would elicit the most responses and the most in-depth responses so we could get people's stories. And so we posted them around campus, each leading the viewers to either a website or an email or some form of context so we can get their stories.
You are creating an interactive performance where all these nodes are set up that we then feed either live video or already taped shots or animations we've created, or even audio. They feed through these nodes that process the video and put a wide assortment of different effects on the videos. So they're actually being changed in real time as the performance is going on. In this case, we had sensors placed on candles that the actors and actresses were affecting with their voice. As the candle flames would flicker, the hue saturation value on a video would change, or the actual position of a video would move from projector to projector.
I wrote a lot when I was younger, but both my parents told me I was useless. All my life, I've been told that my dreams were stupid.
To get this large library of sounds to work with first, what we did was we had a bunch of interviews that had happened. I then just chopped up the audio from that and took little snippets of things that were pretty evocative and used those for all the rest of the audio.
We wanted to have different ways to get the audience involved in the interface as well as just the actors interacting with the candles. Audience members were invited to come up to the wheel, to spin it, and as they spin the wheel, then a projection of a compass would rotate.
After all these sound files were cut up, some of them were distorted and gargled and made a little more ridiculous sounding. They were all put into the program Isadora and mapped to different MIDI notes. And all these MIDI notes, of course, can be triggered by a MIDI keyboard. So we had a MIDI keyboard, and each note you would hit would have a different sound that would play back from Isadora. And so anyone could come up during the performance, during this one scene of the performance at least, and bang on the keyboard, and in addition to just hearing the notes of the keyboard, they would also hear a sound be played back, a little snippet of voice. And they could adjust the speed of the voice as it played back with a little knob on the keyboard as well. So this gave a little, another aspect of audience participation, and it contributed to the whole frenzied part of the frenzied scene.
Blah, 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 send. Blah, 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 blah. Delete, delete, blah, 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 space, send. Blah, 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 send. Blah, 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 okay, blah, 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 send. Blah, 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 sticky keyboard, blah, 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 send. Blah, 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 blah.
Another thing that we had was an open laptop which was connected to the internet, so audience members were then invited to come and be part of the narrative by responding to a question such as, when did you lose your way? And their responses then were actually projected onto the screen, so they became part of the performance itself.
In one of the scenes, the actors simply sat on the floor and used their breath on the candle flame to affect the video that was being projected behind them. And it was interesting to see something as simple as their breath change and edit the video. And this part of the performance progressed into footage of pre-recorded interviews with those actors. The footage was of the actors narrating stories that were written in their theater class. And as the performance progressed, the actors spoke more live to kind of embody the narratives that had been written previously and pre-recorded. And they used their body in multiple ways, such as breathing and speaking and moving, to affect the flame on the candle to edit the video.
This is unlike anything I've ever done before, and it was a real challenge to wrap my mind around the workflow, to realize that I don't 100% know what this performance is going to look like in the end, but I can give it, I can control it a tiny bit enough that, I can experiment. And it was a pretty fun semester learning this program.